All right, everybody, welcome back. We're diving into something today that I am sure everyone has on their mind pretty much constantly.
Definitely.
Money, right?
Yeah.
Budgets and how to make it all work. We're calling this one Beth's Budget Breakdown. Denver living on $45,000 a year. So we're going to break down a snapshot of a budget from Beth. She's 27 years old, living and working in Denver, and she makes, like I said, $45,000 a year.
That's right.
Now, I know not everyone is in Denver. You might be listening from, a different city, a different country even. But the cool thing about this deep dive is that we're going to uncover some universal truths about finances.
Exactly.
Is that things that everyone listening can apply to their own lives. And just to be clear, This isn't about judging anyone's budget.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's more like, can we learn from Beth's situation? See what works, see what might need a little tweaking.
Absolutely. It's all about gaining some insights.
Right. So, what I find super interesting about Beth's situation is that $45,000, like on paper, it sounds like a decent amount of money.
It does.
But then you remember she's in Denver.
Yes. And Denver's got that hidden cost multiplier.
Right. And it's not just like the fancy lattes or avocado toast or whatever people like to blame these days.
Exactly.
Housing.
Oh, tell me about it. Denver's housing market is intense.
Yeah.
And Beth's paying $1,300 for a one-bedroom.
Okay, so that's a big chunk out of her paycheck right there, right off the bat.
Huge. It's funny, though, because in Denver, that's actually a pretty decent deal.
Really? Wow, see, this is why we do these deep dives. I had no idea. So, okay, $1,300, rent, gone. What else we got? Utilities.
Gotta have those.
Always. It looks like she's spending about $197 on utilities.
Yeah, that tracks. Pretty average, I'd say.
Okay, and then, let's see, about $450 for groceries. Now, again, this is Denver we're talking about, so that seems...
It's not outrageous, especially when you consider the cost of groceries there.
Right. And I noticed something else in her breakdown. Her car's paid off. That's got to be a huge weight off her shoulders, especially in a city where you pretty much need a car.
Oh, 100%. That's a major win for Beth.
Right.
Think about it. In Denver's car-centric culture, not having a car payment is like finding a golden ticket. Gives her so much more flexibility elsewhere in her budget.
For sure. And, before we move on from groceries, I was just thinking, when you consider a pound of ground beef in Denver can cost over $7.
Oh, easily.
And a pound of apples is $2.50.
Don't even get me started.
Her grocery spending seems very reasonable.
It does. It speaks to, maybe she's making some smart choices at the store.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we've covered the essentials, the need-to-haves. But let's be real, life is about enjoying yourself, too.
Of course, you got to have fun.
Exactly. So let's talk about fun money, because even on a budget, we all deserve a little splurging, right? It looks like Beth really enjoys the Denver food scene. She's eating out about 3 times a week, averaging about $20 a meal. Plus, she's hitting up a concert or two each month for around $65 a pop.
Okay, so she's taking advantage of all the great things Denver has to offer. Food, music, it's a vibrant city.
Exactly. But, and this is a big but.
Here comes the budget reality check.
Always. This is where things might get a little tricky, right? Because those fixed costs we talked about, especially that rent payment, can really limit your flexibility for fun stuff.
Totally. It's that classic budgeting dilemma. How do you balance enjoying life in an exciting city with, not blowing your entire paycheck?
The million-dollar question. So how do we find that sweet spot? The source we're looking at suggests, and this is something a lot of financial experts recommend, maybe cutting back on dining out a little. Instead of 3 times a week, maybe aim for once a week.
That makes a lot of sense. It doesn't mean depriving yourself, just being more mindful.
And think about it, even that small adjustment, going from 3 times a week to once, that's saving Beth around $100 each month.
That's huge.
Which adds up to almost $1,000 a year.
Exactly. That could be a nice vacation fund, or even better, a solid start to an emergency fund.
Okay, let's talk emergency funds. Not the most exhilarating topic, I know, but super important.
Critically important.
How much should someone in Beth's position be aiming for?
The general rule of thumb is to have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses saved. It sounds like a lot, but it provides a crucial safety net if, the unexpected happens.
Right, because life throws curveballs.
All the time.
Oh.
But even starting small, like $200 a month, adds up fast.
That's a good point. Small, consistent contributions make a big difference in the long run. And, while we're on the topic of making those dollars stretch,
Yes.
The source also mentioned negotiating bills, like calling your internet provider, your cell phone company, seeing if you can get a better deal. Is that really worth the hassle?
Absolutely. It's amazing how often people just accept whatever their bills are without even trying to negotiate.
Yeah, that's me. I hate making those calls.
Hmm.
But you're right, it's probably worth it.
It really is. Those small savings here and there, they add up over time. And this is actually something really cool about Denver. They have a ton of fantastic resources available to
Oh,
residents.
yeah. Like what?
Well, there are organizations like the Denver Financial Empowerment Center. They offer free financial counseling. They do workshops. They can help you navigate budgeting, saving, even tackling debt.
Wow. That's incredible. And I bet other cities have similar programs,
Mhm.
right?
They absolutely do, no matter where you live. It's always worth doing some research to see what's available in your local community.
Good reminder. So we've covered a lot about individual choices, which are super important.
Of course, they form the foundation.
But it does make you think, right? What about the bigger issues here? I mean, Denver's dealing with a major affordability crisis.
It's a huge problem. And this is something we have to acknowledge, right? Yes, learning to budget and save is essential, but it's only one piece of a much larger, more complex puzzle.
It's like we're trying to win a game where the rules are constantly changing and the odds are stacked against us.
Right. It raises the question, how can we, as individuals and as a society, advocate for more affordable living options? Not just learn to survive within a system that feels increasingly out of reach.
So true. It's about more than just pennies and dollars. It's about fairness and opportunity.
Absolutely. It's about creating a system where everyone has a chance to thrive, not just scrape by. And that's a conversation worth having.
Couldn't agree more.